Hello, everybody. Welcome to our special Till the Whistle Blows podcast episode. My name is Sam, and we will be going over the NBA season as a whole with the finals coming right around the corner here. This will hopefully be coming out on Tuesday, and the NBA finals will be starting on Wednesday. My name's Sam. Welcome back. All right, so we are talking NBA finals here. But before we even get to the finals matchup, why don't we talk about all the teams that did not make it? We're going to start probably with all the non-bubble teams. So this is in no particular order. It's not in standings, not in anything. It's just how I wrote it down. So with that, let's go over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, the Cavaliers have a very, very young team, and they have bad coaching. Unfortunately with that, though, they're also stuck in kind of a cap-hold shithole, because they're paying Kevin Love a shit ton of money and all the players that LeBron had brought in for them when he was there. So unfortunately, they're kind of screwed at the moment. They could turn it around. They're building a nice young team. They got Colin Sexton in there. He's definitely going to become one of those good point guards in the league. He just needs to, he needs a team, and they need to get some money. They need to get money. But you know what? They should be coming in, and they should hopefully get it. Now let's the Atlanta Hawks. They're also a young team. They're in the middle of stuff. They're in the middle of a rebuild, so you know what? Unfortunately, they just got Clint Capella from Houston, so they're still trying to figure out what they want to do. They got Trae Young for their future, so just they want to build a team and they want to develop their players. So they're still very young. They're going to see how they develop. I know Cam Reddish is in there, DeAndre Hunter. Those two guys, they still need to, they need to grow. They need to develop into the players they want to be. Trae Young has shown to be the superstar talent for that Hawks. Now it's just time to see who's going to be his number two. Who's going to step up? Are they going to get it in the system, or are they going to get someone from free agency or something? Or are they going to draft it? You never know. We got to see what happens. Detroit Pistons, they are an old team. And their future does not look bright. They seem to make some bad choices, that Detroit team. Is it just Detroit sports teams in general? They just kind of do bad? But those Pistons, they got they don't have Andre Drummond anymore. I'm sorry. Blake Griffin, Derrick Rose, they got an old-ass team. I know this offseason we could hopefully see them make some good moves. They need to get something good going on here. They need to do something. They've been in rebuild mode ever since 2005, 2006. Let's turn it around, Detroit. Knicks, I don't even want to acknowledge them. They're just bad for themselves. They are ruining talent. It seems like no one on that team cares. The owner needs to sell the team. James Dolan sells the team. And maybe the Knicks can turn it around. They don't have any right personnel in there. He's going to get the wrong players again. They have Elfrid Payton. They have Frank Ntilikina. The only bright spot over there is Mitchell Robinson. And I feel so bad for him. He's going to want to get out of there as soon as possible when he fucking realizes this. Because that team is freaking terrible. Chicago Bulls, they have no identity. They have Zach LaVine in there. They have Larry Markkinen. But they have no idea what they're doing. They just hired Billy Donovan as their coach. I think they need to get a solid team in place first, before they figure out what they want to do towards the future. Because I know they brought in Billy Donovan because he's made the playoffs every year with the Thunder team. I feel like they have no idea what they're doing. They have no identity. They don't have a style of play yet. The fucking Warriors like to play from the outside. You got teams that like to play on the inside. What do they want to do? What is their goal here? What are they doing? Are they trying to be balanced, not balanced? I don't know. Charlotte Hornets, they had the worst offseason. They're paying Terry Rozier way too much money in that sign and trade for Kemba. They should have kept Kemba and tried to build around him, and maybe they would have been where the Celtics were, maybe. Probably not. But the Hornets should have kept Kemba. They gave up on him, I guess, and now they're starting again. But I don't know why they paid Terry Rozier all this money. That was a bad contract deal. Unfortunately, I don't think Terry Rozier was worth that money. They could have used that money to bring more pieces to help Terry Rozier, because they have no one. Golden State Warriors, everyone got hurt. Curry's hurt. Clay's hurt. Draymond got hurt. Andrew Wiggins, I think, he could have been hurt. But they secured a top draft choice, so they are probably going to get a solid player, and they're going to be back probably in the playoffs next year, maybe even the finals again. They're not going anywhere. Steve Kerr is still an amazing coach for that team. They are going to go far probably next year when we figure out what's going on. The T-Wolves, they have the first pick in the draft. They might go after LaMelo Ball, because you know what? D'Angelo Russell could play point, LaMelo play shooting, and have Cat. That could be a nice big three right there after whatever the hell they tried to do with Zach LaVine, Andrew Wiggins, and Karl Anthony last time. You know what? Maybe they can, if they get LaMelo, that could be very good for this team. I think that'll help them. That'll give them a real identity. I don't care what you say about LaMelo's dad or whatever got going on the personal side. LaMelo Ball would be great for the T-Wolves. I think that's the move they should make. So that's all the non-bubble teams. Why don't we move over to the bubble teams that didn't make the playoffs? Washington Wizards, they were injured. They have bad chemistry. Why were they there? I feel like they were out. They were technically in contention for it, but they weren't. They lost a lot of people due to the all the shit going on. People didn't want to go. Like Bradley Beal, Davis Bertans didn't go. But why were they there? I really don't get that. They shouldn't have been there. They definitely weren't supposed to be there. They didn't really do much even in the bubble. So I feel like that was just a waste of time. Yes, you get to see them play a little more, but you really didn't want to. That was like one of those, like if you saw your team playing that, it's like, that's whatever. Yeah, the Wizards shouldn't have been there, but you know what? They get something at least. Pelicans, Zion is going to be a great player. He seems to be really good. Unfortunate that they really couldn't do much this year. It's okay though. They have a nice young team with Brandon Ingram. They have it with Lonzo Ball. They've got all these young guys to complement Zion. So they're definitely, you know what? They're going to build up. They're going to get going. Just unfortunately, they're in a tough Western Conference, so it's a little harder. You have to still go through your LeBron Lakers. You have to go through Kawhi and the Clippers. You got to go through Steph and the Golden State Warriors when they're back in full health. You still have to go through like all these teams like the Trailblazers or the Mavericks. You know what? It's really rough for them. Like it's kind of hard. And so you know what? This New Orleans team will be coming up. They will be one of those top teams. Like, you never saw the Mavericks were going to be this good, but you know what? They were able to do it. They did it. They got to where they wanted to be. The Phoenix Suns, this one now. I'm a little sad we didn't get to see them in the playoffs. They went undefeated in that bubble. But just because they had a poor regular season before the bubble, they couldn't make it. The odds were stacked against them. They needed a lot to happen, and none of it happened. It's unfortunate. Even the Brooklyn Nets kind of screwed them on that one. But you know what? It's cool to see that the Suns, they went undefeated. Does that mean we can see promise out of them next season, whenever next season tends to be? You know what? I think, you know what, if they seem to be doing right by Devin Booker, and the DeAndre Ayton seems to be growing into a solid star. So I think this Phoenix team, when next season comes around, they're going to be a team to watch. They're going to be dangerous. They're going to be a team that you want to see, coming up. They're going to be in the playoffs next year. The Spurs, old players, they lost a lot of players. Greg Popovich, I don't think really wants to even build a new team at this point. I think he might be done with it. But like DeMar DeRozan, you saw it in Toronto. He's not really kind of the star player to carry you to a finals. He always seemed to get lost in the second round. He always seemed to kind of lose his steam. He never got those playoff pushes that he needed to do. And, losing LaMarcus Aldridge before this bubble really didn't help either. So they really kind of were running bone dry on that because their team really consists of LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan. The Grizzlies, they lost a tough play-in round against Portland, but Ja Morant seemed to carry a team of nobodies and Jonas Valanciunas with him. But you know what? If the Grizzlies, if they were at full health, maybe if Justice Winslow was there, because definitely when he was on the Heat, he really kind of had no clear role, but he has a clear role here with the Grizzlies after that trade. I think that definitely helped. Again, in terms of the Pelicans, they're in a tough Western Conference as well. Even if Ja gets to where he needs to be and they get their right team, they still have to play a lot of tough teams out there. They're still going to be kind of in like a shit situation with that Western Conference. If they were in the East, this might have been a different story where they're only really competing with like 3-4 teams, since a lot of those other teams in the East are kind of getting fucked. All right, now where we really, really want to spend some time here. We're talking about some of these playoffs teams now. We'll do East, and then we'll do the West. So why don't we start with the East side of things? The Orlando Magic. You know what? They are an up-and-coming team, but they are stuck in kind of a bad place. Because you know what? They're good enough to make the playoffs, but they're not bad enough to get any good draft stock, like, any high draft picks. So they're stuck kind of in the middle of the road. They need to get someone in like free agency to come there to really get them over. Because it seems like this team can do a lot. They made it as the 8th seed. They snuck in. But they can do it. Like, they can make that next step. They just need another player. They have the pieces there. They probably just need like one superstar to get in there. Or not even. Or like maybe like split it between like two like really good stars. Like, you maybe don't need to go for super. Maybe go for just like the step below. Get something there to like, complement what you have already built. And you know what? Maybe that Magic team, maybe they can be like a 4 or 5 seed maybe next year if they can get that in free agency or even trade up in the draft to get someone. It'll be hopefully interesting to see what they do in the offseason. It should be a fun offseason for them if they're able to spend some money. Brooklyn Nets, coming into the bubble, they lost everyone. Kyrie, Kevin Durant, we already know they were out. but like every single player that they had coming into the season was out. They basically ran with Jamal Crawford, and they were supposed to have Michael Beasley, but who also got out due to the virus. So it's sad to see, but like they kind of, even with that, like they kind of got screwed with how many people they lost. So we're really banking on them to, next year. We need to see KD come back. We need to see Kyrie come back. We need to see if they bring DeAndre Jordan back. We need to see that team that they built in the offseason. We need to see what they can do, because you know what? We didn't get to see what they could do. We saw what they did without them, and they still made the playoffs. So what can we see them do with them? They should be, if they made it to the playoffs without that, those people, they should be able to make a deep playoff push with those people. The Indiana Pacers, my God, they get hurt so much. They lose so many players. The coach just can't do it. They fire the coach. Like, Oladipo wants out. They are just getting screwed. Like, the best run they had was like 2013, 2014 with Paul George. And that wasn't even enough because they had to fucking play LeBron at that point, and they got screwed by that. So it's really sad to see this, but the Pacers just, they get screwed. They are honestly, like, the Brooklyn Nets have something to fall back on. The Pacers have nothing. They just get screwed out of everything. Like, it's crazy to see that that's what happens. The Raptors, they're missing Kawhi. They need to have that piece again. They like, just like what I said with the Orlando Magic, like, they have a good team around them, but they need like that one player to really push them over the top. Because unfortunately in basketball, one player is all you need to really make it to get better. Like, you could see, like, the Lakers, they did terrible last year. You had Anthony Davis. Look at them now. They're in the finals. Like, that's all you need is, like, that one player. So, like, Giannis' free agency is coming up soon. Maybe you get Giannis. Maybe you try to get some other players. Maybe you try to get Kawhi back. You never know. But that Raptors team needs one player to come and help them. Because during that Celtics series where they lost, that one player could have helped them. Like, when they played the 76ers during the championship run, Kawhi is what really pushed them over the top because he had that last-second bucket, and then they destroyed the Bucks in the next round with Kawhi. So get that superstar. Get someone in there to help you out. The Bucks. Everyone was saying it's the Bucks' year. It's their time to shine. What are they going to do? They blow it. Giannis does not make a team. Chris Middleton, yeah, sure, you're great. Eric Bledsoe, good player as well. The Lopez brothers, good centers. Giannis does not make a team, though. They have no depth after that. They lost Malcolm Brogdon, who I thought was a great player. And let him go to the Pacers. But there's no three-point shooting on this team. There is no depth. What do you want to do? It's easy to figure out your plan, especially when you're in their series. They played a Heat team that has much more depth, much more shooting, and they can play the inside just as well as you. So you're getting outplayed on every front at that point. So there's nothing that Giannis could have done. Giannis needs players around him. Either the Bucks get him the players or he leaves for another team. There's no in-between on that. He needs players. He needs a role player. Like, unfortunately, yes. Like I said, Eric Bledsoe, he could be as good as he wants to be. Chris Middleton, he's made the All-Star team. Those aren't his number twos, though, because you know what? No one is helping him. Like, Giannis creates shots for no one at this point, because you know what? You have to worry about Giannis driving in that lane, but, then you need someone who he can pass out to really help him out. Or Giannis needs to develop a three-point shot himself. Something needs to happen, but this Bucks team, the way it is, will not win anything if you do not get Giannis the support, or even if you lose Giannis because you're not getting him that support. Celtics team could not keep up with this Heat team. The Heat team, Eric Spoelstra, was coaching laps around each of his opponents here. The Celtics team, like, they definitely had a lot of those foul calls going their way, and they still couldn't really do it. Like, the only thing that really happened, like that Game 2 loss, Marcus Smart was yelling, but that seemed to be the only thing that was happening. It's sad to see that Celtics team was really good, even bringing Kemba in, but that Heat team, oh my God, that Heat team. We will talk much more about them when we get to the finals matchup. But Eric Spoelstra really, coached that team here. But talking about the Celtics, yeah, they just couldn't keep up. Like, Jason Tatum, he did what he could. But, no one else really seemed to step up. They kept it close in that last game, but then they kind of lost it in the middle there. They got their first lead, with only 4 points, and then the Heat said, nah, we got this. And they lost it. They just lost it. They lost it themselves. They really couldn't do much. On the Western side of things, we have the Trailblazers that snuck in as the 8th seed. You know what? They had to play the Lakers. Couldn't do it. It didn't help that Damian Lillard kind of got hurt during the series as well, but it wouldn't have mattered. You're playing LeBron, you're playing AD. You're already screwed there. You got like the best big man, and then you got LeBron, who's considered the GOAT of this generation at this point. There's not much you could do. Like, he doesn't matter how old he is. He seems to still be wreaking havoc on this league. In terms of what the play, you know what? The one thing I will say about the Blazers is I'm glad that they gave Carmelo Anthony the opportunity to play on a team this year, because Carmelo needed that. You know what? I hope Carmelo gets on a team next year. I don't think he's ready for retirement yet. He's still got it. I think any team that brings in Carmelo will be a compliment to anyone that they need. I really hope Portland keeps him. He was a great addition to Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. Please keep Melo. I think that'd be awesome. On the Mavericks now, they had to play the Clippers. Clippers were rough. You know what? Luka is going to get a championship at some point. They have built a great team around him. It sucks that Kristaps got hurt during this run. Maybe they could have, taken more out of the Clippers. Maybe even beaten the Clippers, because we could talk about them when I get there. But you know what? It's okay. The Mavericks have a promising, strong future ahead of them. And it's going to be awesome to see what they do here, building around Luka and Kristaps. Definitely keep those two together. That'll be a fun duo. The Jazz, they choked. That's all you can say. They choked. They were up 3-1. They choked. Could not close out any of those games, even in the Game 7. Mike Conley's shot looked ugly. You know what? The Jazz had a 3-1 lead, but the Nuggets said, nah, we got this. Jamal Murray on that, when we get to him, he balled out. But the Jazz side of things, they played hard for the first, 3 games they had. There was 3-1 lead. They blew it. You know what? People have been saying because Rudy Gobert shut down the league, they were cursed. No, they choked. It doesn't matter what he did. He didn't do anything on the court. He needed to do something there. He needed to shut down the Nuggets like he shut down the league at that point. But he didn't. He didn't do it. Him and Mitchell just could not close it out. I don't care even if they had, this chemistry issue after, what Rudy Gobert did. It really didn't show. I didn't see any issues there. They seemed fine. They seemed happy. They could have talked it over during this quarantine. They said, hey, man, sorry. And they could have been fine. I don't see any of this chemistry issue. I don't think anything's going to go wrong with the Jazz. I think they just choked. That's it. Mike Conley couldn't even help. Thunder. You know what? They were supposed to be rebuilding. They came out. They balled out. I guess they couldn't handle the Rockets' small ball. I don't know. Westbrook, I think, just maybe wanted to take down the Thunder at that point, but that small ball I thought is still stupid. So I'm glad to see that the Thunder had some big men on there, but I guess their big men, you know what? Their big men couldn't keep up, I guess, with, Covington was covering Steven Adams, and I guess that was just too good of a matchup. But you know what? With that, CP3 is probably going to be gone from the Thunder after this, but if that's the way they play, going forward, I think this Thunder team will be back to the way they were when they had Kevin, James, and Russell Westbrook. So keep an eye on that Thunder team. Them and the Mavericks, I think, are going to be those two dangerous teams. All right. Now I'm going to talk about the small ball crap with the Rockets. I'm glad that Mike D'Antoni is gone, because goddamn, that was stupid. You go into a playoff series against the Lakers, who use big men. You have Dwight Howard, you have JaVale McGee, and you had Anthony Davis, and you put Robert Covington and Daniel House on them? What the hell are you thinking? You needed Clint Capella for that. Never should have traded him to the Hawks for that. What the hell was that? You let Anthony Davis basically run laps around you at that point. LeBron, you do not have people like that cover LeBron. That is ridiculous. That was ridiculous what Mike D'Antoni did. They need to fucking get him out. They need to bring a big man back in there. Clint Capella's probably fucked with you guys at this point. He probably hates y'all for that stupid trade you made. They need to get a big man in for that Rockets team. That's what they really need at this point, because that was stupid. That was dumb of them to go small ball. That was just pitiful. The Clippers, they choked. Playoff P. Paul George, I don't know what happened. He choked. Kawhi could not do anything in that Game 7, but they choked. Shouldn't have even gone to 7. They were up 3-1, just like the Jazz on these Nuggets. And Kawhi just couldn't show up on that 7. You know what? with the Raptors team that he had last year, they just helped him. Paul George vanished during these playoffs. Montrezl Harrell didn't seem like he did much. Lou Williams wasn't really there. Like, his team vanished on him, just like, and then he's like, I'm not carrying this team. The Raptors were at least there for them. Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam were there. This team was not here for him. That Clippers team vanished for him during this series. And it's sad to see that. The Kawhi wanted to come here and stop getting, show that the Clippers can stop getting picked on by the Lakers. But how the hell are you going to show that with the way you played against those Nuggets? That was ridiculous. That choke job right there was just awful. The Nuggets couldn't handle LeBron. You know what? They came back 3-1 twice. It was awesome to see. Jamal Murray is rising. He is going to be the next point guard in this league. When it's all said and done, he's going to be probably the top point guard in this league after that run he had. He is popping off with the way he's playing. And you know what? That's awesome. Jokic, they have a great team there. Mike Malone, yes, those fouls were not getting called. But that's just whatever. That Nuggets team, they will be back here. They will be pushing strong. They will be going in. All right, now that we've covered all the teams that didn't make it, let's get into this finals matchup. We have, on the western side of things, we have the Lakers, and they are taking on the Heat from the East. Now, this is a interesting matchup. It's LeBron versus one of LeBron's old teams. Now, I did some little research, and we have a projected starting five for both. So they're thinking that LeBron might be starting at point guard for the Lakers, and then you have your shooting guard as Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. The power forward be Anthony Davis, small forward be Danny Green, and the center be Dwight Howard. That'll be the Lakers side of things. For the Heat, it looks like they're doing point guard Goran, shooting guard Jimmy, small forward Duncan Robinson, power forward Jay Crowder, and center Bam Adebayo. Those are interesting starting fives. I think LeBron playing point guard would be pretty bad for Goran Dragic because that's a dangerous matchup right there. But you know what? Maybe they might change it. I don't know. Maybe put Rajon Rondo at starting point guard, put LeBron back at small forward. You never know. But they're saying LeBron might start at point guard here. That'd be interesting for a game one. Maybe if that's what they want to do, that's what they do. I mean, we've seen LeBron at point guard a lot for this team last year. So it's not too much out of the ordinary to think that. When it comes to the bench players, though, we have Alex Caruso, Rajon Rondo, Kuzma, J.R. Smith, Dion Waiters, Kostas Antetokounmpo, JaVale McGee, and Marquise Morris for the Lakers. That's a solid bench on their side. The real question mark I feel though would be probably maybe Dion Waiters. He didn't really show up much in this playoff run. JR I know is just he's filling in for Avery Bradley, so I don't really know. He seems to be balling out. But Alex Caruso, he's definitely that little goat that LeBron wants. He seems to be doing what he's doing. Rajon is definitely a good point guard still. He's still doing what he does. And hopefully he gets a ring with the Lakers. Maybe he does. Kyle Kuzma, I was interested to, that he stuck around after that blow up. I thought he might have been one of the pieces to go, and maybe they kept Josh Hart instead. But Kuzma, he's not doing much either. Honestly, when it comes to this Lakers team, the only players that are really doing much I feel is Alex Caruso, LeBron, and Anthony Davis. You don't really see much else from these other guys. Danny Green really doesn't do shit. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, I didn't even realize he was still on the team at this point. Kostas Antetokounmpo, he's the wrong Antetokounmpo that should be here. But he's on the bench. I don't really see him doing much either. This really is the Los Angeles LeBron Anthony Davises. That's really what it is. As great as JaVale McGee is, he's not really doing much either. He'll come in to fill out for Dwight Howard, and just having him at center, that's a good center duo right there. And what are they really who's really doing stuff on that team? It's really not much. And that seems to be what they're running with. That's just you're running with LeBron and AD, and then just whoever can throw LeBron those lobs. But it seems to be working. They got through that Western Conference is no cakewalk. You just got through that. You got through the Western Conference, so it has to be working. The Heat's bench, we got Tyler Hero, Andre Iguodala, Kendrick Nunn, Derek Jones Jr., Udonis Haslem, Kelly Olynyk, Myers Leonard, and Solomon Hill. You know what? I think they have a better bench. Kendrick Nunn is a really great player. Tyler Hero emerged during that conference finals game. Andre Iguodala has been in the finals for, the past 6 years now. So he knows what he's doing. Kelly Olynyk is definitely a good, solid big man. Now, if we really had to talk about this, though, so Jimmy Butler, like, I think having that was a great move for this Heat team. Jimmy Butler is what put them over the top. That is what actually got them going here. Like, Jimmy Butler is, like, as I talk about having, like, players, like, bring in that one star, bring in that one player that push you over the top. But Jimmy Butler was that one player to get them over the top. That is what they needed. That's what they did. That's what they're doing. That is where they needed to be. They got what they needed. They developed Bam Adebayo. They're developing Tyler Hero. They're developing Duncan Robinson. They're developing all these players that they picked up. You know, they are making the solid team. Yes, they had to get rid of a few pieces like Justice Winslow, but they used Justice Winslow to get them Andre Iguodala, who is so happy to be in Miami now. This Heat team, I want to see them win. Unfortunately, I think the Lakers are going to win this in 6. I think just LeBron and AD, that's going to be too much. It doesn't matter what they got. That's just too much for anyone to handle. But it's going to be a fun finals matchup. Like, you know what? You can't argue that this is going to be bad. I think the Heat are going to get a few. I hope maybe the Heat win. I want to see the Heat win. I'd rather see the Heat win, honestly. Yes, would it be nice to see the Lakers win for Kobe? It would be super nice. It would be awesome. That'd be great. But I want to see this Heat team win. At a logical standpoint, I think the Lakers are going to win. I think they're going to take it. And, you know, it's fine. Unfortunately, that means the league, they're going to call it rigged again. But, you know what? It was a fun year to watch. I think a lot of these teams are going to be very promising to see in free agency when this is all said and done. And I know Adam Silver is trying to get the league to come back maybe January 2021, so this way they can have a nice league. Do a shortened season. They want to do all 82. I think do it shortened again and just get back to normal. You know, do their season, and then when 2022 hits, start in this October and let it ride out as normal. I think that's what you need to do. Hopefully we see it. Hopefully we get a draft soon. But in terms of the NBA Finals, we got Lakers Heat. Who do you think is going to win? Reach out to me on social media. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram. Tell me who you think is going to win, and we will see what happens. NBA Finals starts Wednesday. Hopefully this comes out Tuesday. Hopefully if I can get in time. Besides that, I hope you guys enjoyed our little NBA Finals rundown. What do you think about all the teams that we wonder? Who's going to be the future of the league, and who do you think is going to win? All right, I hope you enjoyed, and enjoy everything else. Enjoy those NBA Finals.